Hello viewers, I have come up with a new topic, inverse trigonometric functions. Topics to be covered today are introduction to inverse of trigonometric functions, domain and range of inverse trigonometric functions, some useful observation which will include the minimum and maximum value of the functions in the principal range and domain, and some solved examples. What do you mean by inverse trigonometric function? The inverse of a function exists only when it is bijective. Okay. So as we know that if we have a function f a to b and it is an invertible function. Okay. So in that case I have a bijection g b to a. Okay. Such that if I have an element x in a, then in b I will have fx. If I have an element x in a, I have a b element in fx, right? So if this is gb to a, so what element will be here such that fy will be equal to y, and since it is a bijection of f, so it means g is equal to f inverse. Is that clear? So whenever our function is 1, 1 and onto, then only inverse exists. Okay. Now here we are talking about the inverse of the trigonometric functions. So we have a function f r to r such that fx is equal to sin x, right? Now we know that the value of sin x lies between -1 and 1, right? So check the graph of sine function, x, x dash, y, y dash, and this is my 1, this is my -1, minus pi by 2, minus pi, minus 3 pi by 2 and minus 2 pi. Similarly here I have pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2 and 2 pi. Is that clear? So how the graph goes? It goes at pi I have one value, pi by 2 I have one value, then pi it goes 0, 3 pi by 2 minus 1 value, and then 2 pi. Similarly this side at minus pi by 2 I have minus 1 value, then 0, then 1. Okay, so this is my sine graph, right? So I can check maximum value of sine is 1, minimum value is -1. So the values oscillate between -1 and 1. It does not go beyond that level. Is that clear? So it means I can make this function as onto if I convert my codomain R to the range. What is my range? -1 to 1. See why I am doing all these things? Because I want to find the inverse of a trigonometric function, and it will exist only when it is 1, 1 and onto, right? So my codomain is R, and what is my range for the sine function? Range is -1, 1. Is that clear? Now I can change my function f r to -1 comma 1. So now my sine function has become many one onto. What do you mean by many one? It attains 1 at many places. Here I have considered -2 pi to 2 pi. But if I check further values, it will attain -1 or 1 or half or root 3 by 2 at infinitely many points. Is that clear? So we can have inverse only in the case of 1, 1 and onto. This function is now many one onto. If I restrict my domain, what is the domain here now? R. So if I restrict my domain to a level where my graph does not turn, right? So look here, if I take the values from here to here, my graph is not taking a turn over here. So in this case, my function will become 1, 1. Okay, so say if I write like this, minus pi by 2, 2 pi by 2, 2, -1 comma 1. Is that clear? So my graph is not taking a turn in this it will be a 1 1 function. So now this function is 1 1 as well as onto. So now I can define my inverse of trigonometric function sin x. We cannot define the function at r to r because it is many one into function. So defining inverse for trigonometric function, we have to restrict our domain and range. So now my function is fx equals to sin x. Okay, so if I want to define my inverse function, my domain will become a range and range will become a domain. Okay, so f inverse minus 1 to 1 to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, and how it is defined? Sin inverse x. F inverse x is equal to sin inverse x. Now there is a branch in which we find the value of the sin inverse function. So what is that branch? This branch, and this is known as the principal branch, right? Moreover, we can find the value of sin inverse in many intervals, right? I can define my inverse function not only in minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, I can define from pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2. If I take the interval of pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2, I can define again the sin inverse here. Here also 2 minus 1 to 1, it will be a inverse function. Or I can define from 3 pi by 2 to 5 pi by 2. Or I can define from minus 3 pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. Or I can define from minus 5 pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2. And so on, right? So I can define my inverse function in any of the interval of the kind n pi minus pi by 2, comma n pi plus pi by 2 to minus 1 comma 1 in case of sin inverse x. Okay, so this is the way we can define our inverse function in every trigonometric direction. This I have discussed about the sine. Similarly we will do in cos. Similarly we will do in tan and so on. Now I will do some questions to tell you how to find the values in the principal branch. What is my principal branch? Minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. And students, one very important thing, please don't confuse if it is written sin inverse x, it is not equal to sin x to the power minus 1. So now before telling you the principal branch, I want to tell you that sine is an increasing function as well as sin inverse is also an increasing function. So what do you mean by increasing function? Say for example, if theta 1 is less than theta 2, so then sin theta 1 will also be less than sin theta 2. So this is my increasing function. And if I have x1 less than x2, then sin inverse x1 will also be less than sin inverse x2. Okay, so they are increasing functions. Maximum value sin inverse attains at pi by 2 and minimum value at minus pi by 2. Now let us learn how to find the values of sin inverse in the principal branch. Say for example, you have been given sin inverse root 3 by 2. Okay, so I have to find the value of this in the principal branch, right? So what is my range? Range of sin inverse x is close interval minus pi by 2, pi by 2. So this value should lie in this region. So what you can do, let sin inverse root 3 by 2 is equal to theta. Okay, so root 3 by 2 is equal to sin theta. So sin theta is equal to sin pi by 3. This implies theta is equal to pi by 3. Pi by 3 belongs to close interval minus pi by 2 comma pi by 2. Hence the value of sin inverse root 3 by 2 is pi by 3. So whenever you are finding the value, just check whatever value you have got, whether it is lying in the range or not. So now next say for example, I have to find the value of sin inverse minus 1 by 2. So what is my range? Minus pi by 2, pi by 2. So let sin inverse minus 1 by 2 is equal to So sine theta equals to minus half. Now see, generally students, in your 11th standard we have studied the negative values in the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant. So third quadrant start from pi plus something, but here my range is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, so I cannot use that concept. Is that clear? So which concept I am going to use here is sine minus theta concept. So what you can do to make it easier, you can bring minus sign to this side, and sine minus theta is equal to minus sine theta. This concept you can use in this case. Is that clear? So sine minus theta is equal to sine pi by 6. So minus theta is equal to pi by 6. Theta is equal to minus pi by 6, right? Which belongs to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. See, inverse trick we are studying, and inverse is only possible in the restricted range. So we have to check that my angle should lie in this range only. Okay, so this is clear. So why I have got theta is equal to minus pi by 6 means we have to use sine minus theta is minus sine theta concept. So here this has been changed to this part. So the next question is find the domain of sine inverse 2x minus 3. Okay, so what is the domain of sine inverse x? Minus 1, 1. So it means when I am talking about the domain of this part should lie in this region, right? So it means minus 1 less than equal to 2x minus 3 less than equal to 1. So my 2x minus 3 should lie in this region, then only my sine inverse will be defined. Okay, so adding 3 both the sides, divide by 2. So whenever my x belongs to 1, 2, so the domain of sine inverse 2x minus 3 is close interval 1, 2. Okay. So now I have to find the domain of sine inverse x plus cos x. Okay. So what we have learned is that the domain of the addition of two functions is nothing but the intersection of the domains, right? So what domain of sine inverse x is minus 1 and 1, and domain of cos x is r. Hence domain of sine inverse x plus cos x is equal to minus 1, 1 intersection r, right? Always whenever it is the sum of the two functions, we always take the intersection of the domains of both the functions. So if I take the intersection of these two, it will be minus 1 and. So whenever you are given the combination or the sum of the functions, what you have to check? You have to check the intersection part of their domains. Now let us see one more kind of question. Now see this question. Find the value of sine inverse cos sine inverse root 3 by 2 sine inverse tan 5 pi by 4. We have to find the values of these two functions. Okay. So sine inverse cos sine inverse root 3 by 2. Which angle? 60 degree, or we can say pi by 3. So sine inverse root 3 by 2 is pi by 3. Right? Sine inverse. What is the value of cos pi by 3? 1 by 2. Right? This we know using trigonometric tables. Sine inverse 1 by 2. What is that? Pi by 6. So we have to check when was sine root 3 by 2 at 60 degree or pi by 3. So I substitute. Then find the value of cos pi by 3. Substitute that. And then finally find the value of sine inverse 1 by 2. Similarly here, I have sine inverse tan 5 pi by 4. So first I have to calculate the value of tan 5 pi by 4. Okay. So sine inverse tan 5 pi by 4, pi plus pi by 4. Tan 180 plus theta. Add sugar to coffee. So first quadrant positive, second quadrant sine and cosec positive, third quadrant my tan is positive. So this lies in the third quadrant. So it means sine inverse tan pi by 4. What is the value of tan pi by 4? 1. Sine inverse 1 at 90 degree, pi by 2. So now let us check this question. If sine inverse x plus sine inverse y plus sine inverse z plus sine inverse t is equal to 2 pi, then find the value of x square plus y square plus z square plus t square. See, this type of question comes in your competitive exams. Okay. So now what you can do is, since we know that the maximum value sine inverse can take is pi by 2. So what I can write that sine inverse x is less than equal to pi by 2. Correct? Maximum value. Sine inverse y also less than equal to pi by 2. sine inverse z also less than equal to pi by 2, and your sine inverse t also less than equal to pi by 2, right? So now what I can write? I can write sine inverse x plus sine inverse y plus sine inverse z plus sine inverse t less than equal to pi by 2 plus pi by 2 plus pi by 2 plus pi by 2. Is that clear? So check this condition, they have given equal, so I can write sine inverse x plus sine inverse y plus sine inverse z plus sine inverse t equals to 2 pi. Okay, so it means, what does this imply? This implies sine inverse x is equal to pi by 2, which implies x is equal to 1. Similarly, sine inverse y equals to pi by 2, which implies y is equal to 1. Sine inverse z is equal to pi by 2, which implies z is equal to 1. Sine inverse t is equal to pi by 2, which implies t is equal to 1, right? So I have got my values of x, y, z and t, and I will substitute in this expression now, which is equal to 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so just now we studied the sine function, and now let us check the cos function. How we can find the inverse of a cos function. So we have a function f r to r such that fx is equal to cos x. Now again, this function, if you check with the graph, value is oscillating between 1 and minus 1, right? So my range for cos is also minus 1 and 1. But here my codomain is R. So I can restrict my codomain to range so that my function becomes onto. Okay. Similarly, in the case here, it is a many one function. See, you can see at this value can be attained at 0, at 2 pi, at minus 2 pi, right? So it is a many one function. So we can change a many one function to a one one function if we restrict the domain, right? So how I am going to do is, if I am taking from, this is my 0, right? From 0 to pi, if I am taking, there is no turn in the graph. See these two quadrants, there is no turn in the graph. So what can be my domain? It will be 0 to pi. Is that clear? I cannot take here minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 because there is a turn in the graph. In sine, I have taken minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 because there it was not a turn in that context. But here it is a turn, so I have to take from 0 to pi. Okay. So my function is 0 to pi to minus to 1 to 1 defined by fx is equal to cos x. So now my cos x function becomes 1 1 and onto. So now I can write its inverse. So how I can write its inverse? So cos inverse such that from minus 1 to 1 to pi. Is that clear? So what is the domain of cos inverse? It is minus 1 to 1. What is my range? 0 to pi. Always remember, whenever we are talking about the inverse of a function, whether it is a trigonometric function or a general function or a algebraic function, always it has to be 1 1 and onto. Now this is my principal branch, okay, for cos inverse. Again, as we have done in sine inverse, we can define cos inverse in various intervals. Here I have defined for 0 to pi. I can define pi to 2 pi. I can define from minus pi to minus 2 pi, or from 0 to minus pi. Okay, so now some remarks I will tell you. My cos and cos inverse both are decreasing function. If my theta is less than theta 2, theta 1 is less than theta 2, then cos theta 1 will be greater than cos theta 2. See, check what I am telling. Say for example, my theta 1 is 30 degree and theta 2 is 60 degree. Okay, so cos theta 1 is what? Cos 30 degree is root 3 by 2. Okay, cos theta 2 is 60 degree. 60 degree means 1 by 2. So now my theta 1 here is less than theta 2, but cos theta 1 is greater than cos theta 2. So hence my cos is a decreasing function. Similarly, my cos inverse is also a decreasing function. So if x1 is less than x2, then cos inverse x1 will be greater than cos inverse x2. Both are the decreasing function. And what is my domain of cos inverse x? -1 to 1. What is my range? 0 to pi. Maximum value of cos inverse pi and minimum value of cos inverse is 0. It is attained at x is equal to -1 and 0 is attained at x equals to 1. So now let us find the domain of cos inverse 2x minus 1, and second is this part. Okay, so domain of cos inverse is -1 1, right? So it means this part should lie between -1 and 1. Okay, add 1 all the sides, so -1 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 0 less than equal to 2x less than equal to 2. Divide by 2. So what is my domain for cos inverse 2x minus 1? It is close interval 0 comma. Okay. Now we have to find the domain of this function 2 cos inverse 2x plus cos inverse x. So when we are talking about the sum of two functions, we have to find the domain separately of both the functions and then take the intersection of it. Okay. So let us check. So first is cos inverse x. So what is its domain? Domain is -1 comma 1, right? Now we are talking about 2 cos inverse 2x. Okay, so what is the domain of cos inverse 2x? Okay, so divide by 2. Is that clear? So I have to take the intersection of this part and this part. So it will be equal to -1 by 2 and 1 by 2. So find the principal value of cos inverse half, cos inverse minus root 3 by 2 and cos inverse tan 3 pi by 4. So first of all, pay attention here. So cos inverse 1 by 2. Okay. So what is my range? 0 to pi. So it means my value of this part should lie between 0 and pi, right? So cos inverse half equals to theta, right? So cos theta is equal to half, right? So cos theta is equal to, when is cos half? At 60 degree. Okay. So cos pi by 3. So theta is equal to pi by 3, and check it belongs to 0 comma pi, right? It belongs. Hence cos inverse half equals to pi by 3. Is that clear? Okay. Now check the next part. If I am talking about the second part, so I have cos inverse minus root 3 by 2. So again, what is my range? Range is close interval 0 comma pi. So cos inverse root 3 by 2 equals to theta. Cos theta is equal to minus root 3 by 2. Now when I have theta negative, because we are talking about 0 to pi, right? What you can write? You can write minus cos theta is equal to root 3 by 2, and here you can write cos pi minus theta. Cos 180 minus theta is minus cos theta, correct? Equals to, when is cos root 3 by 2? At cos pi by 6. Okay, so pi minus theta is equal to pi by 6. Theta is equal to pi minus pi by 6, which is equal to 5 pi by 6. Or if you have a negative value of cos, okay, so it will be always equal to, whenever is the negative value cos inverse minus, so write pi minus cos inverse root 3 by 2. So pi minus pi by 6, which is equal to 5 pi by 6. Whenever it is negative, say for example, if they give you cos inverse 1 by root 2 minus, so directly what will be the answer? Pi minus cos inverse 1 by root 2. Pi minus pi by 4, which is equal to 3 pi by 4. So whenever it is negative, always it will come pi minus cos inverse of that. Third part is cos inverse tan 3 pi by 4. So first I have to find the value of tan 3 pi by 4. Tan pi minus pi by 4. Cos inverse tan 180 minus theta is minus tan theta. So cos inverse minus 1. Again I told you whenever it is negative, pi minus will do directly. No need to go in under any complications. So cos inverse 1. Pi minus, when is cos inverse 1? Add 0. So the value will be pi. So it is given evaluate cos inverse 1 by 2 minus 2 sin inverse minus half. So first of all we will find the values and then we will evaluate. So cos inverse, what is the range of cos inverse? X is close interval 0 to pi and range of sin inverse x is minus pi by 2, pi by 2, right? So this implies cos inverse half is equal to pi by 3, okay? Sin inverse minus half is equal to minus pi by 6, right? Minus, so we have got our values. Now I will evaluate 2 sin inverse minus half. Substitute the values. Cos inverse half is pi by 3 minus 2. What is the value of this part? Minus pi by 6. Substitute minus pi by 6. So you are getting pi by 3 plus pi by 3. So which is equal to 2 pi by 3. So basically any type of question is given, first find out the values in the principal branch and then solve it. Okay. So for that you must know the domain and range of the inverse function. So now my question is, if x comma y comma z belongs to minus 1 comma 1 such that cos inverse x plus cos inverse y plus cos inverse z is equal to 0, find x plus y plus z. So my x, y, z belongs to this region. So it means, right, this is already provided to us. Now it means my cos inverse x will lie between, okay. So cos inverse x plus cos inverse y plus cos inverse z is given as 0. This is given to us. So this implies that cos inverse x is equal to 0, cos inverse y is equal to 0 and cos inverse z is equal to 0, which implies x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1 and z is equal to 1, right? When my cos inverse x is equal to 0, what does it imply? That x is equal to 1. Cos 0 is 1, right? Hence, x plus y plus z will be equal to 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 3. Now check this question. So again, if my x, y, z belongs to minus 1 and 1 such that cos inverse x plus cos inverse y plus cos inverse z is equal to 3 pi, find x, y plus z, y, z plus x and z, x plus y, right? So now check it again the same way we are going to solve it. So my x lies between minus 1 and 1. Okay. So inverse will lie between 0 and pi. Okay. It's given equal to 3 pi. So I can write as cos inverse x plus cos inverse y plus cos inverse z is equal to pi plus pi plus pi. Right. So what does that imply? It implies that cos inverse x is equal to pi, cos inverse y is equal to pi and cos inverse z is equal to pi, which implies x is equal to minus 1, y equals to minus 1 and z equals to minus 1. Now we'll substitute these values of x, y, z. So x, y plus z plus y, z plus x plus z, x plus y. Substitute the values. So what you are getting? Minus 1, minus 1 plus minus 1. So basically what you are getting? Minus 1, minus 2, minus 1, minus 2, minus 1 into minus 2. So minus 1 into minus 2 plus minus 1 into minus 2 plus minus 1 into minus 2. So basically I am getting 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is equal to 6. So just now we studied about the sine inverse function and cos inverse function. Now we will check about the tan inverse function. Okay. So let us consider a function f r2 2n plus 1 pi by 2 where n belongs to z 2r, okay, is defined as fx is equal to 10x, right? and from this we can make out that my function is many one on 2. Let us check the graph also. Now from this graph it is evident that my 0, okay, at 0, pi and minus pi I am getting the same value of fx, right? So it means my function is many one on 2 function, okay. So my 10x function is many one on 2 function, right? But if I want to define the inverse of 10x, what I have to do? It should be 1, 1. I have to restrict my domain in that case. Range is fine because it is on 2. Okay. So now the thing is I will restrict my domain in this case, right? So if I make my function f minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 to r, in this case my fx is equal to 10x will be 1 1 and on 2. Whenever it is 1 1 on 2, we can define the inverse function. So what will be my inverse function? So f inverse r2 minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, such that f inverse 10x equals to x. Okay. Similarly, we can find out for secant inverse, cosecant inverse and cot inverse. Now let us check the functions, their domain and range. So sine inverse, as we already discussed, its domain is minus 1 to 1 and range is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Okay. Cos inverse is minus 1 1 and close interval 0 comma pi by 2. Tan inverse is r, open interval minus pi by 2 and pi by 2. Cosecant inverse is minus infinity minus 1 union semi close interval 1 comma infinity. And what is the range? Minus pi by 2, pi by 2 close interval minus 0. At 0 my cosec inverse x will not have a value. Is that clear? Now next check it, secant inverse x and then cot inverse x. So whenever you have to find the value in the principal branch, you should remember all this domain and range. Now remarks about the inverse functions. So both my 10 and 10 inverse are increasing function. Okay, so if theta 1 is less than theta 2, then 10 theta 1 is less than 10 theta 2. And if x1 is less than x2, then 10 inverse x1 is less than 10 inverse x2. Okay. Moreover, we know that 10 inverse x value lies between minus pi, which says that minimum value should be minus pi by 2 and maximum value should be plus pi by 2. But 10 inverse x does not attain these values. So now we have to evaluate these values in the principal branch. So what is my principal branch of 10 inverse x is? Open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Right. So now check this. So range of 10 inverse x is minus pi by 2 and pi by 2. Okay. So 10 inverse 1 equals to theta. So 1 is equal to 10 theta. When is my 10 theta 1? At pi by 4, right? So 10 theta equals to 10 pi by 4. So theta is equal to pi by 4, which belongs to minus pi by 2 and pi by 2, right? So always when we are calculating the value of 10 inverse something, we have to check whether it lies in the principal branch or not. So it lies in the principal branch. So done. Okay. Now check the next part. So it is 10 inverse minus root 3. So basically how you can write 10 inverse minus root 3 equals to theta. So tan theta is equal to minus root 3. Now I cannot use the concept of second quadrant because here my range is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So it should lie in that range. So what I am going to do, minus tan theta is equal to root 3. Tan minus theta is equal to root 3. So when is my tan root 3? Tan minus theta is equal to tan pi by 3. So theta is equal to minus pi by, and which belongs to minus pi by 2, pi by 2. Is that clear? So always when you are finding the value in the principal branch, just check whether it lies, whatever angle you are calculating, it lies or not. Whenever negative value, just find the angle and substitute minus sign before it. Now let us check the third part. So what is given? Tan inverse 2 cos 2 sine inverse 1 by 2, right? So now what is the value of sine inverse half? Just check the domain of sine inverse. What was the domain of the sine inverse? Closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, right? So 2 cos, substitute the value 2 into, this will be at pi by 6, right here, sine inverse half. What is the range for sine inverse? Range is minus pi by 2, pi by 2. Okay, so sine inverse half will be equal to pi by 6. Substitute that value here, pi by 6, tan inverse 2 cos pi by 3, right? Tan inverse 2 cos pi by, what is the value? Half, cancel, tan inverse 1. Just now we calculated tan inverse 1, what is that? Pi by 4. So whenever any question of the combination is given for the inverses, calculate sequentially the things. Start from the inner bracket, solve it, then move here, then here. Now see, this is a question, which is greater, tan 1 or tan inverse 1? Okay, so now we know tan inverse 1 equals to pi by 4, right? By the principal branch, tan inverse 1 will be equal to pi by 4. Also, 1 is greater than pi by 4. Why? See, 1 greater than, what is the value of pi? 3.14 upon 4, right? So 1 is greater than what you will get when you divide this, right? So 1 is greater than 0.785. So 1 is greater than pi by 4, right? Is that clear? So now, what does that imply? Tan 1 will be greater than tan pi by 4. Why? Because my tan is an increasing function. As it will be greater, it means tan 1 will be greater than 1. Tan pi by 4 is what? 1, right? And my 1 is greater than pi by 4. 1 is greater than pi by 4. So from first and second, I can write tan 1 greater than 1 greater than pi by 4. Or I can write tan 1 greater than pi by 4, right? Tan 1 greater than, instead of tan pi by 4, I can write tan inverse 1, right? Proved. Is that clear? So the thing is, what concept I have used here, that tan is an increasing function here. Is that clear? If you know that concept, you can easily solve that. Okay? Now let us move to secant inverse function. So now we are talking about the remarks of the secant function and secant inverse function. So when I am talking about secant function and secant inverse function, both are increasing function. Okay, so now we'll check the values on which they are increasing function. So when I am talking about secant x, so it is an increasing function in the interval 0, pi by 2 and pi by 2 pi. Okay, but if I take the union of these two values, so it will be neither increasing nor decreasing in that interval. Okay, now if I am talking about secant inverse x, secant inverse x is an increasing function in, so minus infinity, minus 1 and 1 infinity. So in this interval, my secant inverse function is increasing function. But if I take the union of these two, then it will become neither increasing nor decreasing in this function. Okay. Now, maximum value of secant inverse x is pi, which it attains at minus 1. So maximum value of secant inverse x is pi, which it attains at minus 1, and minimum value is 0, which it attains at x is equal to 1. So now let us check these questions. Find the value of secant inverse 2, secant inverse minus 2 by root 3 and secant inverse root 3 by 2. Okay. So let us check one by one. So what is my range for secant inverse? Range for secant inverse. What is it? It is. So now I have to find secant inverse 2, right? So let it be equal to theta. So my theta should belong to this region. Okay. So it means secant theta is equal to 2. When is my secant theta 2? At pi by 3. Okay. And pi by 3 belongs to 0 comma pi minus pi by 2. So done. What is my value of secant inverse 2? It is pi by 3. Okay. Now see the next question. So next question is secant inverse minus 2 by root 3. Again, what should be my range? My range is this. It means my theta should belong to this region. So it means secant inverse minus 2 by root 3 equals to theta, right? So secant theta is equal to minus 2 by root 3. So secant theta is equal to, it is similar to cos. What I have done whenever it was negative, what we are using? Pi minus. Always remember 0 to pi minus. So secant pi minus pi by 6. Okay, so what you are getting? Theta is equal to 5 pi by 6. Now let us check for secant inverse root 3 by 2. Now listen, what is the domain? I am not talking about the range, I am talking about the domain here. So if you check the domain of secant inverse, it is minus infinity comma minus 1 union 1 comma infinity. X less than equal to minus 1 or x greater or equal to 1, right? Now if I check my root 3 by 2, it is less than 1. So it will not lie in this domain. What is that? 1.732 divided by 2. What is that? It is equal to 0.866, which is less than 1. So it will not lie in this domain. So means secant inverse root 3 by 2 is meaningless. What you can say? Secant inverse root 3 by 2 equals to 5, or it will be a null set. Is that clear? So whenever any question is there, you have to check whether it lies in your domain or not. This lies in the domain, this also lies in the domain, but this is the part which doesn't lie in the domain. So you have to check it, and hence the value of secant inverse root 3 by 2 is 5. Yeah? Okay. So now check, find the domain of secant inverse 2x plus 1. Domain of secant inverse is x is less than equal to minus 1 or x should be greater or equal to 1. So what does that imply? It means my 2x plus 1 should be less than equal to minus 1 or 2x plus 1 should be greater or equal to 1. So what I am getting here, 2x less than equal to minus 2, x less than equal to minus 1, or 2x should be greater or equal to 1 minus 1 0, or x should be greater or equal to 0. So what will be my domain in this case? For the function secant inverse 2x plus 1, now I will combine these. So it will become minus infinity comma minus 1 union, from where it is starting? 0 comma. So this is my domain. Okay. Now we'll check the cosec inverse and cot inverse functions. Okay, so now let us check for the cosec inverse x, and say for example if I am talking about cosec and cosec inverse, both are decreasing function. Okay, decreasing. So where is cosec inverse decreasing function? It is minus infinity minus 1 and 1 comma infinity. in this domain it is a decreasing function cosec inverse x. Now cosec inverse x attains maximum value at 1, which is pi by 2. Okay, and it attains minimum value at -1, which is minus pi by 2. Now we'll find the values in the principal branch for some of the questions. So now check, find the principal value of cosec inverse -2 and cosec inverse 2 by root 3. So what is our range for cosec inverse x? It is minus pi by 2, pi by 2 minus 0. So now when I am talking about cosec inverse -2, let it be equal to theta. Cosec theta equals to -2, and the value of theta should lie in this range. Okay, so when is cosec theta 2? At 30 degree or at pi by 6. So cosec minus pi by 6. So which implies theta is equal to minus pi by 6. Is that clear? Now when I am talking about cosec inverse 2 by root 3, again let it equal to theta. Okay, I am doing the second part now. So cosec theta is equal to 2 by root 3, and again it should lie in this range, means I have to take the positive part. So cosec theta is equal to cosec pi by 3. So it means theta is equal to pi by 3. Is it clear? So whenever we are solving the principal values, understand what is my range of cosec inverse x. Your theta should lie in that range. Now let us take this question. If cosec inverse x plus cosec inverse y plus cosec inverse z is equal to minus 3 by 2, find the value of x upon y plus y upon z plus z upon x. Right? So guys, check, as we know that the minimum value of cosec inverse is minus pi by 2 at x is equal to -1. We are going to use that concept. So now we know minimum value of cosec inverse is minus pi by 2 at x is equal to -1, right? So when it is equal to minus pi by 2, what you can write? Cosec inverse x plus cosec inverse y plus cosec inverse z equals to minus 3 pi by 2. So I can split this minus 3 pi by 2 as minus pi by 2 plus minus pi by 2 plus minus pi by 2, right? So what does that imply? That implies cosec inverse x is equal to minus pi by 2, cosec inverse y equals to minus pi by 2, and cosec inverse z also equals to minus pi by 2, right? So what does this imply? This implies x equals to -1, y equals to -1, and z equals to -1. Now I will substitute the values of x, y, z in my given expression. So what is my given expression now? X upon y plus y upon z plus z upon x. So substitute the values now. -1 upon -1 plus -1 upon -1 plus -1 upon -1. So what it will become? 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 3. If you know whether my function is decreasing function, or if you know when you are getting the minimum or maximum value, these type of question will become easier for you to do. So now let us check about the cot inverse function. So cot inverse function is R2 0 to pi. So now this is a decreasing function, and cot inverse does not attain the maximum or minimum value as 0 and pi for any value of R. Is that clear? So there are two inverse trigonometric functions. One is tan inverse and other is cot inverse x, which does not attain maximum or minimum value. Okay, so now let us find the value of cot inverse 1 and second cot inverse -1. So again, what was my range for cot inverse? It is open interval 0, pi. So it means the values should lie between this range. So cot inverse 1 equals to theta. Cot theta equals to 1, right? So when is my cot theta 1? When theta equals to pi by 4, and it belongs to 0, pi. So it means the principal value for cot inverse 1 is pi by 4. So I am done with that part. Now see the second part. So whenever it is cot inverse -1, it should also lie in this range. Okay. So cot inverse minus 1 equals to theta, cot theta equals to minus 1. Now listen, we have done previous question also, and whenever I have a pi over here, what I used to do to find the negative value of cot inverse, I used to write minus pi by 4. Okay, so theta is equal to 3 pi by 4, and 3 pi by 4 also belongs to open interval 0 comma pi, hence this value is correct. So whenever you have the interval 0 to pi and you are getting a negative value, please pi minus theta you should use. Say for example, if I have tan inverse minus 1, so it will be minus pi by 4. If it is cot inverse minus 1, it will become 3 pi by 4, because my range is 0 to pi. In tan inverse, my range was minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So now let us check, find the domain of cot inverse x plus cot x. So I have been telling you, whenever it is the sum of the two functions, we have to take the intersection of both the domains, right? So what is the domain for cot x? So domain for cot x, how we define this function? It is written r minus n pi, where n belongs to z, to r, right? So the domain for cot x is this, and what is the domain for cot inverse x? r to 0 to pi, right? So now I have to take the intersection of these two domains. When I am talking about the domain of a function which is the sum of the two functions, I have to take the intersection of the domains. So r minus n pi nz intersection r. Okay. So the domain of cot inverse x plus cot x will be r minus n pi such that n belongs to z. Is that clear? So students, with this I come to an end of the inverse trigonometric functions principal values. Today we learned introduction to inverse of trigonometric functions, domain and range of inverse trigonometric functions, some useful observation and some solved examples. Thank you. Stay tuned.